Okay, so picture this. You're in a room with 28 high-level football coaches, and they're all looking out over their field. But the topic of the day isn't about plays or workouts. It's about character. And right in the middle of it all, one coach puts his hand up and asks the one question that is on every single leader's mind. How do we get guys to buy into this stuff? I mean, that's it, right? That's the million-dollar question. It's one thing to talk about character and values, but getting your team to actually live and breathe it, well, that's a whole different ballgame. So let's actually unpack a roadmap that answers that exact question. So if you want to get that buy-in, everybody has to be on the same page. It's that simple. Before we can even think about building character, we've got to agree on what it actually is. And it's not just some big, vague idea. It really breaks down into two very different but super crucial types.
All right, so on one hand, you've got what's called performance character. Think of this as your relationship with yourself. You know, things like discipline, resilience, focus. These are the skills that make you a great performer. But then, on the other hand, there's moral character. And this is all about your relationship with other people. Stuff like honesty, empathy, being reliable. These are the skills that make you a great teammate. You absolutely need both, but they tackle totally different parts of the puzzle.
Okay, so here's where the real strategy kicks in. The very first step to getting your team to buy into character development, it's not some new drill or a cool motivational poster. Nope, it's about completely shifting how you even define success in the first place. So let me ask you the same question that was put to those coaches. When you really get right down to it, what's the goal of a team? I mean, the ultimate goal. What's the first thing that pops into your head? I'm going to bet that if you're like most people, and pretty much every single coach in that room, the first word that came to mind was win, right? Makes sense. We keep score for a reason. But here's the catch. Focusing only on the win can actually stop you from winning. So what happens if we reframe that? What if the real goal isn't just to win? What if it's to maximize the team's ability? Because think about it, when a group is firing on all cylinders when they reach their full potential, the wins just kind of take care of themselves. It's a small shift in thinking, but it changes everything. All right, so once everyone's on board with this idea that our goal is to maximize our ability, the next question really cuts right to the heart of the matter. This is the one that shows you exactly where you need to be putting your energy as a leader. So the coaches were asked to list their top 3 things, and this is key, besides injuries, that would stop their team from hitting its potential. Now think about that for your own team for a second. What are your biggest roadblocks? And as the coaches started sharing their lists, something really powerful started to happen. A pattern emerged. You heard the same things over and over again. Selfishness, lack of trust, poor communication. You seeing the theme here? And this is the light bulb moment, the core insight. Not a single answer was about the X's and O's. Nobody said our passing name is weak or our defensive scheme needs work. Every single major obstacle, it was all human stuff. They were all character issues, plain and simple. And when you realize that, it leads to a really big, kind of uncomfortable question. If we all agree that these human issues are the biggest things holding us back from being our best, then why in the world are we not spending most of our time and energy trying to fix them? So here's the bottom line. You can't just cross your fingers and hope good character shows up. It doesn't work that way. You have to build it, intentionally. You need a system, a real roadmap for developing the inside of your team. And here's that roadmap. It's actually pretty simple. Step 1, get everyone on the same page that the goal is to maximize ability. Step 2, ask the team themselves what they think the obstacles are. Let them own it. Step 3, take that list of struggles and pair them with specific character skills. That's your curriculum, right there. And finally, step 4, you build awareness. You have open, honest discussions to attack these problems together, as a team. And you know what? When teams actually go through this process, they consistently say it leads to 4 huge benefits. First, they gain totally new perspectives. They start talking about the tough stuff, the things they normally wouldn't. They genuinely get to know one another better. And all of that builds a really deep, powerful connection. Look, this isn't just some nice theory. It actually works. Let's take a look at a real-world example. Tim Corbin, the head baseball coach at Vanderbilt. He is one of the best in the entire world at putting this whole philosophy into practice, day in and day out. I mean, by any standard metric you want to use, Coach Corbin is unbelievably successful. He's won a national championship. He's developed over 30 players who've gone on to play pro ball. But
Here's a stat that's maybe even more impressive. Every single offseason, more than 30 of those pros, they choose to come back to Nashville to train at Vanderbilt. Now think about that. They could train anywhere in the world with the best facilities, but they choose to come back here.
So, why? Why do they come back? Well, it might have something to do with this. Every single day, before they even step on the field for practice, Coach Corbin spends 30 minutes with his team in a classroom. And they don't just talk about baseball. They talk about behavior, they talk about character, they talk about life.
And the results of that daily investment? It's huge. It builds this connection that is so strong, it lasts way longer than the uniform. See, he's not just building a team for a season, he's building a community for life.
So, what are the big takeaways here? What should you really walk away with? First, don't let a results-only environment hijack your focus from what actually drives those results. Second, the best leaders, they don't just manage the playbook, they manage behavior and develop character. And third, and this is the big one, you need a system to do this. You have to be intentional about building your team's inside. And that really just leaves us with one final thought. I want you to think about your own team, whether that's in an office, on a field, or even just in your family. What's the biggest human obstacle that's getting in the way of you guys reaching your full potential? And maybe more importantly, what's your plan to start working on it?